Hi, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today we have our special guest, Joe Mikitish of Do Work University. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is my special privilege and honor to welcome a guest speaker by the name of Joe Mikitish. He is the owner of Do Work University and the Do Work Nation out of Idaho. Joe, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Kale.
Fantastic. Hey, so Do Work University, I love the name of it, first of all, because that's kind of what we all need to be doing, right? Is doing work, and the university aspect of there's things to learn about doing work. Tell me a little bit more about Do Work University and what you're trying to accomplish with that.
Yeah, I originally started it with the idea of helping small business owners kind of grow their businesses by teaching them how to do their own organic marketing. And that's kind of extended out from doing organic digital marketing to organic marketing in person, like networking and referrals and that kind of thing. And then we've moved on from there up to teaching people how to sell better, with sales coaching and sales training, and then also how to scale their businesses once they've kind of reached that point of about $1 million, $1.5 million in revenue. They need to rapidly scale and implement processes. So everything from marketing side all the way up through sales to scaling.
Fascinating. Okay. So on the marketing end of things, so did you start as a marketing agency or more just teaching people how to?
Well, we did do the agency thing for a while, but we really started from running our own businesses. So we had, my wife and I is the we've run 9 businesses, and what we've determined is not a lot of the agencies are not geared towards helping really small, what we call micro businesses, under 25 employees. If you've got $50,000 a month in budget, they can help you. But if you've got $500 a month in budget or less, really they can't help you out much. So what we started doing was doing our own marketing with our own companies, and didn't just teach ourselves. We went to a lot of conferences and went to a lot of training, and we kind of figured out the magic formula with our own businesses. And then one business owner after another that was our customers with our other businesses would come to us and go, "Hey, can you show us how to do that?" And I was teaching one business owner at a time how to do it, and then 2 business owners, then 10, and then I was doing big, huge workshops, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 people. And then COVID hit and we moved everything online. And actually it's been a blessing because we can reach more people on more of a national scale rather than just localized in our area. So we've been doing that sales training, or the marketing training in particular, for 7 years. And the sales stuff we added on about 5 years ago.
Okay, fantastic. So have you found, as your business is growing, right, and you're reaching more people, are you still focusing on what you're calling a micro type business, or you now have moved into what you kind of found, because I would imagine that's kind of where the money is, right, where the bigger businesses are, where you're now charging $25,000 a month to run a marketing budget, are you sticking with that niche?
Yeah, we really don't do the marketing for people. The Do Work thing, I'm wearing the shirt, Do Work is really about helping them do work. And I don't want to run an agency. We tried it, we were doing the teach you and then done with you and then done for you model. And we really have moved away from that completely and moved just to the teaching side. So we've had a lot of marketing agencies send their students to my courses and workshops and boot camps. And so I teach them. And then once I see that they come to me and they're like, "Here's what I've done," and I kind of certify them on doing things the right way, then I'll refer our customers to them when they kind of get that point where they're like, "Hey, I got $10,000 a month marketing budget." And I go, "Great. If you don't want to pay somebody on your staff to do it and you want to pay an agency, I can make an introduction." But we stick to the education. We really, 95% of our customers are micro businesses. So we get great joy out of helping somebody who's like, right on the edge of barely being able to pay their bills with their business to, having that time and money freedom. Our goal is to help 1 million business owners get time and money freedom. It's not, to help big, huge companies make more money. So there's other people that can do that.
Yeah. And that's great, because you kind of answered my next question of, why stick with that model of staying on the education side. And it kind of sounds that's just your passion, right? You're kind of that down to earth guy that wants to help other people be successful and not just, a CEO buy another Lamborghini type of a situation, right?
Right. Yeah. What my joy comes from getting text messages from our customers going, "Hey, check out my new boat," or "Hey, I bought a horse for my daughter," or if I was finally able to move out of that trailer house into an actual real home, house.
Or
And so
I'm on the first vacation I ever had. Yeah.
Yeah. I was able to go on vacation to Disney with my kids. These are the texts I get from my customers on a regular basis, where it's really not the, "Hey, I want a big contract with the big hospital system and they're paying me, $1 million a month," or anything. Right. Our average customer spends like $60 a month with us, and we usually start them out at $10 and move them up. So
okay.
As their business grow, we can offer more things.
Right. So can you do just a real quick, so what would be a normal life cycle for a customer like you, like coming in for $10? Like, that sounds pretty amazing. What would be that progression, and why would a customer join you?
Yeah, so, the primary reason is they get all the tools they need. Our flagship thing we do is Do Work University, and it's $27 a month, and they get the 10 marketing courses that they need for their business right away. And we add new courses in there every month or every other month that are geared towards helping their business. So it might be, how to do LinkedIn better, or how to do Facebook, or how to do Google Business or Nextdoor, or it's how to use your customer base or your power base to get more referrals. So we teach that whole process step by step, how to do that. And it's not theory or go make cold calls. None of that. It's really growing your business organically with the people you already know, and then growing your network, and then using online tools to enhance that. So that $27 is where most of our customers stick there, because there's about $10,000 worth of value in that $27 a month. And they get access to several things. One is our Facebook group that we have, which is the Do Work Nation group. And there's a lot of help that happens in there. And then additionally, they get access to, if they're local here, and I'm in Boise, Idaho, if they're here, they get in-person networking included. If they're not here, there's online networking. So we can actually in real time go, okay, this is how you should network, with each other and grow your business. We can take what we're teaching and actually implement it in real time.
For those of you who didn't catch that, $27 a month is, I can't even fathom the steal of a bargain that this is. So yes, make sure you're clicking on the links in the description to get in contact with Joe here. Okay, so switching gears just a little bit, because this is a leadership podcast, and I would be somewhat remiss to not talk about that aspect of things. As your company and companies have developed and grown, and I'm sure you've gone through hiring and firing and expansion and reduction, all those types of life cycles with different companies. Talk to me a little bit from your perspective as the leader of your company, Do Work University. What does your leadership model look like? Like, what are you focused on? What are some challenges that you're seeing? If you can kind of expand on that a little.
Sure. My role in the company is really visionary. If you take the EOS traction model, I really stick up there in the visionary space. In all of our businesses, that's where I've lived. And I really am imparting, here's the vision of the company. Here's what we're trying to accomplish. Here's your role in accomplishing that vision to each of the people who work for us. And that goes from our admins, which are actually the most critical part of our business, is the admin team. Right. They make everything work. They make it so that I can do what I do. Right. So they know that they're critical to the business. To the sales team, I've got to say, I was just on the phone with one of our salespeople from Texas, and he knows he's a critical part of getting our vision, out into the market so that people can see it, and then, educating people on who we are as a company. Right. So everybody's got a role, and when they know that they've got their role and what their place is in the company, they don't really need much management. I've gone 6 months with employees that I haven't talked to them before, for 6 months. Like, they're like, wow. Hey, you want to have coffee, Joe? I'm like, why, what's going on? They're like, well, I haven't talked to you for 6 months, so I thought maybe we'd reconnect or something. Right. My management style, I think, is some people are terrified of that. Business owners are like, well, I can't manage my people that way. But I've been managing that way, but not everybody can handle being managed that way either. Some of them lose it. They're like, you haven't talked to me for 6 months, you're mad at me. When the reality is I haven't talked to you for 6 months because you're doing a great job, And,
And I trust
we're
you.
moving the
Yeah.
company forward. My role isn't to micromanage people or, repeatedly go, hey, let's do employee, 6-month reviews or anything. I don't do any of that. So kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you found a model that obviously works for you. And I wanted to touch a little bit because you mentioned it twice in talking, and I think about your admin guys and gals and your sales team of they know, right? So you said they know what their roles are. They know the expectations. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Is that a purposeful process that you've put in place as part of your onboarding? Whether it be, job descriptions or anything like that, or is that just an ongoing kind of, I don't know, maybe your personality or expectation? Like, talk to me about how do they know?
Well, part of it's my personality, and I know that's my personality is to manage with completely, hands off. So I built a structure in place so that I can manage people that way.
Okay.
So when I am onboarding them, or it starts in the interview process, right? I tell them straight up, here's the deal. This is how I treat people. This is how I manage people. If you don't, and I've had people say, I really can't handle that. I'm going to go work somewhere else. And it's great that they identify that early on, because there would be a problem, right? And early on in owning businesses 20 years ago, I made those mistakes. I would hire just anybody who came in who was interested and their resume looked good and they interviewed well. Now I'm really particular about who I work with, knowing that most people are not going to stick with me very long these days. Especially, salesperson average life working for me is 2.5 years. They get 2.5 years of sales coaching with me. Somebody's going to offer them way more money than I'm going to be able to afford to pay them at charging my customers $27 a month. But, they come to work for me because of the vision, right? They see the big picture, and I show them, I've got the layout of how the company is positioned, right? Which team are you on? Are you in sales? Are you in finance? Are you in, on the operations side? Where do you sit in the company? This is you. I like draw a circle. This is you. And then here's the flow chart of how work flows through the business. So, new customer comes in, or we're implementing a new process or a new event or a new project or whatever. And I go, this is where you are. This is where you are. And this is where you are. See how critical you are to this whole thing. And it makes it easy to hire people, but it also makes it easy to fire, because if they're not doing their job, I go to them and I go, here's the deal. I showed you in the chart. Here's you. I'm like, but now you're not doing that job. And so I got to pay somebody else to do the job, which means now I don't have the money to pay you. So you can work for me for free, but I got to pay somebody to do this work. The work has to get done.
Right.
So that's literally how I fire people is that's how I do it. So
I would imagine there's generally not much pushback when that person does get fired, because they're like, wasn't doing it.
I wasn't doing the thing I was supposed to do. Yeah. So, and that's generally the only reason I ever fire anybody. Because I have double checks in the company so people can't steal money, or, I make sure that those things happen. But, generally, I lose you.
Oh, just for a second. All right, we're back.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're saying you generally don't fire people because outside of this, because you've got checks and balances.
Yep. Yeah. Well, for example, on the finance side, I have an outsourcer who double check my books every month. And of course, my internet connection says I'm unstable. But, that's really our focus, is to make sure that people know their role in the company and they have all the tools they need to succeed. It makes it really easy. People stick with us a long time. I mean, I had a bookkeeper with me for 17 years, same bookkeeper.
Yeah. That's fairly impressive, actually. And that wasn't your mom?
No, it wasn't my mom. It wasn't my mom, wasn't my wife, wasn't my sister. It was actually somebody I met at another company, and I wrote her. I have a little ledger of it. I'm like, if I ever need one of these people, I'm going to call this person. I'm like, what's your name and number? And I'm not going to call you and ask you for a date, but if I need to hire somebody like you, I'm going to call you. So, and so when we needed a bookkeeper, I was like, let's call her. And so we called her up, and she was like, actually, I hate my job where I'm at because it's soul crushing. And so she came and worked. Corporations tend to be for people who are free spirits. And so she came to work for me, and she worked for me for 17 years till we sold that company. So
wow, that's impressive.
Yep.
for that reason alone, you should be listening to what Joe has to say. if you can keep somebody that's not a blood relative on your staff for that long is pretty impressive. And I wanted to just kind of acknowledge, you talked about your interview process as being such a critical key to your relationships with your employees and setting up expectations. Because I just had Manish Baxi on my podcast recently, and that's his book is Stop Hiring Losers, is kind of about that, of stop hiring people that don't fit the position that you're hiring them for, without the proper expectations, and so they understand why they're there and things. So I think that was phenomenal and a great commonality that successful business owners such as yourself have put in place to help ensure that they're successful. That's great.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the hiring process is critical. If you hire the people that can hurt your business the most are your employees. That's hiring the wrong employee. I think the Department of Labor says it costs a small business $27,000 to hire when they hire the wrong person. That's the damage they do to the business. And I think that's actually a low number. But if you think about that, you hire the wrong person, it costs your business 27 grand. Then you hire another person and it's the wrong person that costs another 27,000. You should probably learn how to hire people properly so you don't stop bleeding so much money.
Right, exactly. And not even just small businesses. I actually recently talked to a gentleman who was a former general manager of a Home Depot here locally where I live. And he said, there were times where he just had to hire somebody, he needed a warm body that could lift 50 pounds. And he says every single time where he was in a rush to hire somebody, he just picked that breathing citizen off the street. He said it was always a mistake and it never worked out well for anybody. So that's super fascinating that you touch on that, because it is so critical about finding people that fit with your culture and your organization. That's awesome. Now, I do ask all my podcast guests, as far as the difference, if there is one in your opinion, and there may not be, this is totally open to your interpretation, the difference between a manager in business versus a leader in business. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you have any direction one way or another, pros, cons?
Well, in my opinion, a leader is somebody who's imparting the vision, and they're out there I never ask employees to do stuff I won't do. Right. So that I want to lead from the front. Some people don't lead that way. Some people are leading from hey, we're at the top of the food chain and we're up here just imparting vision and, creating the grand plan. But managers are the ones who are in there going, and I've got managers in different parts of my business where they're managing to the tasks that are needed. So what is the activity that's needed in order to get these big things accomplished? And they're the ones who are like, hey, did these tasks get done? Did these targets get hit? As a leader, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to talk to my employees about those things. So we as leaders need managers to go here. We impart our vision, and they have the people get the work done. But they're generally also the ones who are like, not so much cracking the whip, because you can't use that phrase anymore, but really going, hey, we got a timeline here. We need to hit these timelines, and making sure that people are checking the boxes along the way. So I've never been one to do that. I don't have that personality. I can hardly keep track of myself, much less other people. So, and most people I think are visionaries are like that, but then visionaries try to start managing people. Man, it's a recipe for disaster. So, completely different. To answer your question, they're completely different people.
Right. And I love, and this is actually none of my guests that I recall had touched on this aspect of it, about that being a type of personality that's suited to one or the other. And I think that's so true because, people naturally gravitate towards what they're good at and what they feel comfortable in. And some people are comfortable being the to-do list type of people. And, hey, man, did you get this X, Y, and Z done? Versus other people are comfortable with, we're going to scale Mount Everest and we just need to do it by next year. Right. And kind of thing, and helping that land. So I think that's phenomenal. So listeners, I hope, because my mind is still reeling back to a couple minutes ago when you said for $27 a month, you're getting 10 grand and plus. I know you're undervaluing what you're getting at 10 grand, but listeners, you would be, not to be insulting, but you'd be a fool not to click on Joe's link and go sign up for Do Work University at $27 a month. Shoot. I'm probably going to go sign up for it right now. That is amazing. All right, Joe. how can people get a hold of you? What's the best way? Where should they go to look for you?
Yeah, if they want to get a hold of me directly, LinkedIn is the best way. You can't miss me. It's Joe Mikitish. And just look for a picture that looks similar to this. I think I'm one of the few people on LinkedIn that looks exactly like their profile picture. And
Right.
you can't miss me. And that's the best way to communicate with me. I put a lot of content out on LinkedIn, but it's not garbage. It's all really geared towards helping you get more customers. Right. So my goal is to help everybody I interact with make more money. That's what I want. So, and that includes if I post something on LinkedIn, it's to help you make more money. That's what it is. And then doworkuniversity.com. I have workshops and other things on there besides just Do Work University. There's two different options. One is you're in the Boise, Idaho area, and one is you're somewhere else. And pick which one you want, and then you'll get the networking that's included with that. So you'll be invited to our national Zoom. And I think the last one, we had a couple hundred people on those where they're networking. We put you in little breakout rooms so you can get to actually build a relationship with those people. And then we sent out a list of everybody that was on there so you can connect with each other on LinkedIn. And
cool.
That really what we want to do is have good business people networking with each other and helping each other grow their business. So there's little pockets of Do Work Nation people all over the country, like in Austin and Miami and different places. And those groups of people will put you in contact with them so that they can help you grow.
Cool. That sounds amazing. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Joe, anything else? Last parting words, maybe upcoming projects you've got going, anything that you want to get out to the listeners?
I think that really there's some statistics people really don't know, and they're maybe terrified of it. But 92% of all business happens either in person building relationships or on the phone. Now it's on Zoom, but on the phone building relationships. So don't hide behind your computer on social media and on email and those kind of things because you're just chasing the 8%. Go actually meet people, build those relationships, and grow your business much faster. That's awesome. my parting wisdom. Go after the 92%. I love it.
No. Yeah, that is perfect. And it makes sense. Why would you not go for the majority versus the minority? That's awesome. All right, Joe. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this. This has been fascinating to learn and listen. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, man.
All right, you too. Thanks, Kale.
All right, everybody. Have a fantastic afternoon, no matter where you're at in the world. Bye.